Single mom's incredible heartwarming act saves a stranger discover his shocking identity love. Lisa let out a weary sigh as she navigated her rusting sedan through the winding streets of her bustling suburban Ohio neighborhood. The chill nipped at her, but it didn't dampen her spirit. With every shift spent stacking shelves at the grocery store, she was building a life for her spirited 11-year-old daughter, Sophie. The daily grind was tough. Bills piled high, and dreams often felt just out of reach, but she held fast to one truth. Love and kindness could change the world. As she pulled onto a less traveled road, the sight of a scruffy man on the roadside startled her. His clothes were tattered, and he wore a face etched with despair. It wasn't the first time Lisa had seen the struggles of people like him. Her heart ached for the many veterans who fought for their country only to return to an unforgiving world. Without hesitating, she made an abrupt U-turn, her determination ignited by a compulsion to help. "Okay, Lisa," she muttered to herself, "this isn't just about you." When she pulled up next to him, the man looked surprised, almost hopeful. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice steady. "I can give you a ride to a nearby shelter, and a warm meal if you'd like." To her relief, gratitude washed over his face as he introduced himself as Jake. The first spoonfuls of soup she handed him glistened with warmth. Jake took it in both hands, and for a brief moment, their hardships melted away. He shared stories of his time as a soldier, painting vivid pictures of valor. His laughter echoed through her small kitchen. Sophie's eyes sparkled as she listened, quickly warming up to her new friend, affectionately dubbing him Uncle Jake. Over the next few weeks, their connection blossomed into a strange yet beautiful family unit. The laughter that filled their home felt downright magical in contrast to the heaviness of Lisa's daily struggles. Yet as joy filled their lives, an undercurrent of worry seeped in. Lisa couldn't shake the feeling of disparity. Her dream was to provide a bright future for Sophie, one that didn't involve fighting for every cent. One night, while the three sat together on the porch, an unexpected reveal shattered the fragile harmony. Jake, her loving companion, was not just a kind stranger. He was a Medal of Honor recipient and, unbeknownst to Lisa, the estranged son of a wealthy family that once touched her life in painful ways. The news locked Lisa's heart in a vice, igniting debates in her community about merit, forgiveness, and their very definition of family. Conversations buzzed, neighbors whispered, opinions swirled. Isn't kindness meant to be colorblind? In the wake of this revelation, she felt torn between two worlds. The thought of Sophie's future loomed larger than ever. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In the midst of community discussions rife with tension, Lisa wrestled with her resolve. Should she pursue the dream she had painstakingly built for Sophie, propelled by love but lined with insecurity? Or would she open her heart fully to Jake, risking it all for the rich, chaotic tapestry of love and family that had suddenly emerged? A heavy silence filled the air, weighing down on her heart as she stared into the shimmering stars overhead, wondering which path would truly lead her closer to home. Could love indeed bridge the chasms created by economic divides? What sacrifices must she embrace to find her way to redemption amidst the chaos that had become her life? The question swirled, leaving a tantalizing promise hangs in the air, inviting readers to journey with her into the swirling depths of uncertainty and possibility. Days turned into weeks as Lisa tried to navigate this new normal. Each morning, she woke up with a sense of hope, but a weight pressed on her chest. The whispers in the community grew louder. Some saw Jake as a hero, a man deserving of second chances. Others couldn't look past his scruffy exterior, reminding her of the stark differences that separated them. Sophie adored Jake, and every time he donned a gentle smile, her heart fluttered with warmth. Yet, in the quiet of the night, when secrets danced behind closed doors, doubt consumed Lisa. Should Sophie grow close to someone whose past was marked by shadows? One evening, as the sun melted into a warm orange glow, Lisa watched Sophie and Jake play in the yard. Laughter floated through the air, and for a moment, the world felt right. But as Jake caught her gaze, the mask slipped slightly. Beneath the surface, he bore burdens so heavy, she could almost feel them wrap around her, too. "Hey, Lisa," he called, breaking her from her thoughts. "You okay?" "Just thinking," she replied, forcing a smile. "About the future." His eyes darkened slightly. Understanding crossed his face, a look she had grown to trust. "I get it. It's a lot to process. You're not alone in this." That reassurance was a tender balm, but it only masked the storms within. They settled into a routine. Jake attended support group meetings while caring for Sophie during the day. Lisa continued to work hard to keep things afloat, but a gnawing uncertainty lingered. One evening, she decided she needed to face it head-on. "Jake," she said as they sipped coffee on the porch, "I need to know more about your past. Not just your time in the service, but everything. I mean, you're from a different world than we are." He paused, a flicker of pain crossing his features. "I guess I am. Just like I'm still learning about yours," he replied, his voice low. She felt the tension in his tone, the weight of his history resonating in the dim light. "Can you trust me?" Jake took a deep breath, as if preparing for a storm. The moments that followed were thick with unspoken confessions. "Before I joined the service, I had a life of privilege. But that life, it felt like chains. I wanted to break free, so I enlisted." His words hung between them, like a thread connecting their disparate lives. "I know the sacrifices of a soldier and the heartache of family expectations. I don't want to go back to that world." The air around them became electric. In that moment, Lisa felt an unyielding connection form, but the reality of their lives felt like a dark cloud looming. "I want more for Sophie," she whispered, a tear escaping. "Is this real? Are we really building something here?" Jake reached for her hand, powerful yet tender, grounding her fears. "Let us not pretend. Our pasts don't define our future. But we have to face them." As the sun dipped behind their neighborhood, Lisa finally realized that love could emerge from the messiness of their lives, yet the road ahead was fraught with challenges. Could she bridge the gap? In the distance, Sophie's laughter rang clear, a sweet reminder of life as possibility. But then, from around the corner, a luxurious car pulled in, and a figure stepped out, sharp suit, polished demeanor. As he approached, recognition washed over Lisa, sending her heart racing. It was Jake's father. What did he want? "Lisa," he called, his voice slicing through the evening air. "We need to talk." Lisa's stomach churned. The past was creeping back into their lives. The chaos had only just begun. What did this man mean for them? Lisa's heart raced, and her mind whirled with possibilities. Jake's father stood before her like an impending storm, sharp features accentuated by the setting sun. His tailored suit felt like armor, preparing him for battle, and Lisa instinctively pressed herself closer to the porch railing, a barrier between them. "Dad," Jake's voice broke through the haze, filled with a mixture of surprise and a hint of dread. He stepped forward, positioning himself between Lisa and his father. The tension in the air thickened as silent words passed between them. "Why are you here?" Jake demanded, his tone firm and unwavering. "I think we should talk about your future, son," his father replied, unflinching. "And the company I've established back home needs your leadership." Lisa felt a rush of heat flood her cheeks. Was this the world Jake had escaped from? A world tied to obligations and expectations. In that moment, she wanted to reach out, to pull Jake away from the weight of this moment, yet she remained silent, her heart pounding in her chest. Is that what you think of my future? That I'm just going to step right back into your plans? Jake shot back, his voice laden with anger. I built something here, something important. His father's gaze flickered toward Lisa, then back to Jake, as though assessing the situation. And I'm sure Lisa is a lovely addition to your life. But stop, Jake interrupted, his voice steady but laced with pain. This is my life. I'm not just some pawn in your game. Lisa watched in awe as the man Jake had once described to her demanding, powerful, and cold stood against his son's newfound resolve. For the first time, there was a clarity that washed over her. Jake was fighting for them. Can you talk without trying to control everything? Lisa finally spoke, surprising herself. Jake deserves to live for himself, not to be pulled back into a life he left behind. We've both battled our own demons here. Jake's father stared at her, unaccustomed to being challenged. A flicker of anger crossed his features before a flash of surprise broke through. Why would you care? You hardly know him. Because I love him? Lisa breathed, the admission escaping her lips before she even realized it was forming. The words hung in the air, solidifying a bond they had been skirting around for weeks. Jake turned to her, his surprise quickly replaced by something more profound: gratitude. In that brief moment, they were connected, standing together against the world that sought to tear them apart. Love? Jake's father finally said, his tone incredulous. You think love can solve this? No, Jake interjected, a fire igniting in his eyes. But it's a start. Your world can't dictate my choices. Not anymore. Silence enveloped them, heavy and loaded. Lisa could sense Jake's father weighing his options, calculating his next move. She felt small but fierce, ready to defend the life they were carving out together. We'll figure this out, Jake, she whispered softly, uncertainty mingling with determination. Then, turning to Jake's father, she squared her shoulders. You can't take him back, he has moved on. The confrontation hung in the twilight. Jake's father stood frozen for a moment, processing the unexpected change in dynamics. Is that how you want to play it? With a girl like her? He finally said, the disapproval creeping back in. Lisa felt a flush of anxiety rush over her at his words, but Jake stepped forward. With love in my life, yes. She matters? Don't try to take that away from me. The possibility of an impending conflict loomed heavy, yet Lisa clung to a glimmer of hope. Maybe this was the turning point. Maybe it was time to confront any demons lurking in the shadows, once and for all. Just as she steadied herself, a sudden realization punched through her. Was Jake's father really the only threat to their little family? Or would the whispers in the community rise again? She looked at Jake, his resolve shining like a beacon. Let us go inside and talk, Jake finally said, leading her away from the weight of his father's presence. But as they turned their backs, Lisa could feel the storm brewing just beyond the porch lights, an unknown challenge ahead. What would this confrontation reveal? Was Jake truly ready to face his past and claim his future with her? The echoes of his father's voice whispered in the warm evening air as they stepped inside, leaving unanswered questions lingering like shadows. Inside, the cozy warmth of the living room felt like a blanket against the chill of confrontation. Lisa's mind raced as she sank onto the couch, her fingers nervously twisting the hem of her shirt. The walls adorned with pictures of Jake's childhood seemed like silent witnesses to the turbulence unfolding. Jake paced in front of her, his brows knitted together in deep thought. I can't believe he just showed up like that, he muttered, his voice a blend of frustration and disbelief. After everything. Lisa finally found her voice. You didn't expect him to? He has always had this hold over you, hasn't he? She could feel the weight of Jake's history pressing between them, a shadow refusing to dissolve no matter how much they wanted to shine. He thinks I owe him, Jake replied, stopping to face her. It's always been about his plans, his expectations. I escaped to lead my own life, and I thought he finally understood that. Maybe he'll never really get it, Lisa said gently, her heart aching for him. But your life is yours to shape. You're not beholden to him because of blood or obligation. His gaze softened, and she could see the gears turning in his mind, battling with the immense pressure of his father's expectations. I want to fight, he said, determination flickering in his eyes. But part of me worries it will only end in heartbreak for you, for me. Jake, please. Don't think that way. She approached him, the distance between them shrinking. I'm not afraid of heartbreak. I'm afraid of losing you to what someone else wants from you. We're building something real here together. Together, he echoed, almost as if trying the word on for size. He stepped closer, the tension simmering down to a calm warmth. I don't want to lose that. I love you too, Lisa. Just before he could finish, there was a sharp knock at the door. The noise startled both of them, and Jake glanced toward the sound, his expression slipping back to unease. Who could that be? He asked, puzzled. Lisa's heart sank, the calmness shattered. It might be your father again, she said, dread creeping into her voice. Stay here, Jake instructed, his tone steady but eyes flickering with uncertainty. He moved toward the door, and as he opened it, Lisa held her breath, an icy sensation crawling down her spine. Standing there was not just Jake's father, but two other figures, a stern-looking woman in a crisp blazer, and a man holding a briefcase. The irritation on Jake's father's face was undeniable, yet the arrival of these strangers suggested a new level of seriousness in this unfolding drama. Dad, what is going on? Jake demanded, stepping outside, leaving Lisa in the dim living room, feeling the distance between them stretch again even while they stood just a few feet apart. Let us just say the family business has some urgent matters to discuss, his father replied, a steely glint in his eyes that frightened Lisa from her seat. The newcomers exchanged glances, assessing the situation as they crowded the doorway, determined and relentless. Lisa swallowed hard. This was beyond just a family confrontation now. This was corporate and devastatingly real. What did this mean for Jake? For their future? If this was just the beginning, she could already feel the tide shifting, raging against them. Jake, she called out, her voice breaking through the sudden tension. We need to talk about this. But as she watched him step toward this new challenge, the uncertainty hung heavy in the air, swirling with the ghosts of the past. Would their love be strong enough to withstand what was coming? And what complicated truths would emerge from this unexpected visit? The door swung wider, and suddenly, Lisa felt like an outsider in her own home. Jake's posture was tense, his jaw set as he stood before his father and those strangers. The air swapped warmth for a chill, making her skin prickle with unease. You have no right to come here, Jake said, voice deeper, more forceful than she had ever heard. There was a fierce protectiveness in his tone, an instinct to shield her, even as he faced the looming figures. Jake, we need to talk about your future, his father said, impatience radiating from him. This isn't just about you anymore. The company is in trouble, and your attention is required, now. This is my life, Jake retorted defiantly, stepping slightly in front of Lisa as if to shield her from the storm brewing. You can't just waltz back in after ignoring me for years and expect me to fall in line. Lisa's heart pounded. She could sense the sorrow and resentment battling within him. The woman in the blazer, poised and unyielding, interjected, We can help you, Jake. But you must be willing to step up. There are stakes you don't understand. His father nodded. Your mother would have wanted you involved. It's in your blood. The mention of his mother was a dagger. Jake flinched, the painful memories reflected in his eyes. Lisa took a small step forward, but hesitated as Jake's moment of vulnerability seemed to be swallowed by the clash of wills around him. "Don't drag Mom into this," he shot back, his voice trembling with suppressed emotion. "This is about me. I'm not her replacement or some pawn in your business games." Silence enveloped them for a heartbeat, thick and suffocating. Lisa wanted to comfort him, to scream at the intruders to leave. But instead, she stood frozen, a witness to the showdown. "What does this mean for you, Jake?" she finally managed to whisper, desperate for clarity amidst the chaos. He met her gaze, grappling with conflicting emotions. "I don't know." His voice wavered as he looked back at his father. "I can't do this and risk losing you." "Then don't lose her," his father pressed, though there was a softness that Lisa hadn't expected. "Make a choice. You can redefine your legacy." A breeze whispered through the doorway, and Lisa felt the wild flicker of hope against the dismay flooding the room. "Let us talk inside," Jake finally said, signaling a tentative truce. "We'll see what you all really want." With one last glance at Lisa, he took a breath that loomed heavy with uncertainty. She could see that he was ready to confront this head-on, but she sensed the weight of what was at stake. She felt both anxious and proud. There was a flicker of the man she had fallen for, the brave one who would dare to push back against the tide. They retreated inside, the shadows in the doorway crashing into one another, as the room seemed to clench tighter around them. Lisa watched the strangers take their places around her living room, and the familiar warmth felt utterly foreign now. Her heart raced at the unknown swirling around them, how truths would unravel in front of her very eyes. Could Jake truly wrestle with the past and ensure their future? The tick of the clock echoed like a countdown. Jake turned to Lisa, his expression desperate yet fierce. "Whatever happens, don't lose faith in us." But as the icy demeanor of the outsiders settled in, Lisa could only wonder, would their love survive this trial by fire? As she felt the tension crackle around her, she couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change, again. The moment they settled around the living room, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that the air had thickened. Jake positioned himself between her and his father, creating a small barrier that only half comforted her. His father's gaze scanned the room, a predatory glint catching the light as he acclimated to the space. "What you're asking of him is too much," Lisa spoke, trying to find her voice amid the tension. The woman in the blazer raised an eyebrow, clearly unimpressed. "Too much?" the woman replied, her tone brittle. "This isn't just about feelings anymore. This is business, Lisa. A legacy. Jake needs to step up." Jake clenched his fists, fingers twitching as if he were trying to hold back a rushing tide of anger. "You don't get it. You're talking about my life like it's a stock option. It's not. It's everything to me." The tension crackled as Jake's father leaned forward. "Then think of your family," he urged, his voice persuasive. "Your mother would want you in control. We're facing real challenges." At that moment, the clock ticked louder, each second echoing in Lisa's ears. She watched Jake's expression shift from adamant defiance to anguish. It was like watching a storm roll in, dark and overwhelming. "What do you think she'd want from you, standing here like this?" Jake's voice wavered, raw and edged with pain. "This isn't what she wanted for me. You left. You abandoned us, and now you expect me to just..." The woman's lips thinned. "This isn't about blame. This is about survival. If you won't do this for yourself, think of what your inaction means for those who depended on you." Lisa's heart sank further. It was as if each word from these outsiders stripped away layers of Jake's defenses, and she could almost see the conflict wrapped around him like a vice. "Enough," Jake said lowly, cutting through the air like a knife. "I won't be afraid anymore. If this is about redefining my legacy, then I'll do it on my own terms." A flicker of surprise passed over his father's face. Maybe he expected Jake to falter, to yield. But standing together, Lisa felt Jake's resolve strengthen, like roots digging deeper into the earth. "Do you really think you can handle this?" his father replied, disbelief lacing his words. "Yes," Jake stated firmly, the strength in his voice igniting a spark of hope in Lisa's heart. "I can. But only if you all stop treating me like a pawn. I refuse to be part of your games." "Then what would you have us do?" the woman in the blazer asked, her facade of control slipping slightly. "Let me think. Let me breathe." Jake took a step back, glancing at Lisa. "And let me choose my own path." The silence that followed was electric. Lisa's breath felt caught in her throat. She admired the way Jake was finding his voice, his power. Yet, hidden beneath that bravado, she sensed fear. "Understand this, Jake," his father warned, leaning back in the chair as if preparing for a battle. "The path you choose may come with consequences. Don't say I didn't warn you." Jake's face paled, but his voice remained steady. "I'm willing to take that risk." Lisa's heart raced. Could this bold stance carve a new future for them? Or was it the beginning of an even bigger conflict? As Jake turned back to her, his eyes searching for reassurance amidst the lingering uncertainty, Lisa took a deep breath. Moments like this where choices twisted and tangled in the air could shift everything. And they were at the brink of a monumental change that promised much, but also threatened to take so much away. But what would happen when the stakes grew even higher? What if the very legacy they sought to reclaim began to unravel their own lives instead? Jake's declaration hung in the air like a charged electric current. He took a step back, his voice trembling but resolute. Lisa could see the glint of determination in his eyes, but beneath it, she detected a storm brewing, questions of identity, consequences, and a future that felt uncertain. The moment stretched painfully long. The tension was so thick Lisa could almost taste it, a bitter mix of fear and hope swirling around them. Jake's father exchanged a glance with the woman in the blazer, a silent conversation laden with doubt. "What does that mean for this company?" his father finally asked, his voice hardening. "What does it mean for your mother's legacy?" "I'm not just a name on a balance sheet," Jake fired back, his passion igniting the room. "I'm a person, and I refuse to be defined by the expectations of a past I can't control." "Your mother would be proud of you for taking charge," the woman said, trying to veer the conversation back to safe ground. "But she also wanted you to understand the weight of responsibility. It's not just about you anymore." Jake's expression shifted slightly, a flicker of vulnerability breaking through. They all sensed it, the raw reality of his loss, combined with the pressure to uphold a legacy that felt like sinking sand beneath his feet. Lisa wanted to reach out, to offer comfort, but the distance ridged by family expectations seemed insurmountable. She shifted forward instead. "If this is really about your mother and her legacy, then why not honor her by living your life authentically?" Her voice trembled, but she aimed to instill strength into the words. A brief silence ensued, and for the first time, recognition flickered in Jake's father's eyes. "This isn't just about you, Jake. This affects every single person who relied on your mother's vision. Do you realize the stakes?" Jake squared his shoulders, meeting his father's challenge head-on. "Every person relies on authenticity. If I build a life on your terms, I just create another chain? I refuse to do that." "Stepping away from this means you're risking everything," the woman interjected, her voice sharper now. "Relationships, reputation, finances, everything will be on the line." "Maybe that's the risk I'm willing to take," Jake shot back. And with that, the walls of the room seemed to close in further, the weight of their unspoken fears bending them. Lisa felt a rush of compassion and anxiety wash over her. It wasn't just about business. It was about the heart. "Your life is more than legacy," she said gently, stepping into the narrative. It's about who you are and what you embody. Your mother would want you to fight for that. Tears sprang to Jake's eyes, a bittersweet mix of gratitude and pain. For the first time, he turned away from the harsh realities of the room and faced the softness of love and understanding. I can't do this alone. I need you, Lisa, he whispered, and the bond between them deepened with that simple statement. As a sudden knock on the door erupted, confusion overshadowed the moment of connection. The atmosphere shifted yet again, as if the universe was shifting gears, pulling them back into the chaos they were trying to escape. Jake's father stood, breaking the fragile stillness. Who could that be? He asked, and tension returned like a thick fog. Jake exchanged worried glances with Lisa, who felt her heart racing. What now? The stakes were already so high, and the thought of another twist left her breathless. Behind the door, the world outside held secrets, and Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that whatever awaited them on the other side of that threshold could further redefine everything they thought they understood. The knock came again, louder this time, a relentless rapping that echoed through the room. Jake's gaze shifted between his father and Lisa, uncertainty pooling in his eyes. The silence felt oppressive, heavy with all the unsaid words and emotions that had been swirling just moments before. Should I get it? Lisa suggested, her voice barely more than a whisper. Jake nodded, though his expression looked more wary than willing. Lisa took a tentative step towards the door, heart pounding in her chest. The atmosphere crackled and hummed with unresolved tension. What if it was someone who would complicate things further? She reached for the doorknob, her fingers trembling slightly. Before she could turn it, the door swung open, revealing a tall figure standing in the doorway. A man, disheveled and breathless, with wide eyes that seemed to search for something or someone. Jake's father stiffened, a look of recognition dawning upon his face. Henry? He blurted out, the surprise stripping away the harshness from his tone. The room felt as if it had been struck by lightning, the energy surging in unexpected directions. Yes, it's me, the man replied, his voice shaky. He looked exhausted, as if he'd run a marathon just to get there. I didn't know where else to go. Jake's brow furrowed, confusion clouding his features. Henry was a family friend, someone who had once worked closely with Jake's mother. But that past connection felt more like a ghost than a support now. What could bring him here at such a critical moment? Henry, you need to explain yourself, Jake's father demanded, stepping forward with a solidity that halted the air around them. I know this isn't the best time, Henry said, stepping tentatively inside. But I came with urgent news about your mother. The name hung in the air, heavy and haunting. Jake's breath caught in his throat, blending fear with the pulse of hope. Lisa caught his glance. She could see the flicker of anguish in his eyes. What is it? Jake demanded, voice unsteady. What do you mean? Is she? Henry swallowed hard. I learned something that you need to know. Something valuable about her last days. Something she wanted you to understand that may change everything. Every gaze swiveled to him, the room tight with expectation. Lisa held her breath, sensing the gravity of the moment pressing down on them all. Jake took a step closer. Tell me, he urged, desperation now layered in his voice. The man took a deep breath, his face a tapestry of resolve and sorrow. Your mother, she wanted you to find your own path. There's something she left for you, he said, locking eyes with Jake. Things are not as they seem about your inheritance. She wanted you to have the choice. Lisa's heart raced. This was bigger than any of them had anticipated. She stepped forward, curiosity blending with the deep-rooted hope that had just sparked in her heart. Henry, she said, her voice steadying. What did she leave you? What choice? Henry's gaze shifted slightly, almost apologetic. I can't explain it here, not in front of everyone. But there's a package and a letter, he hesitated. I think both might change your understanding of legacy completely, Jake. As Lisa watched the flicker of uncertainty in Jake's eyes morph into something else, determination mixed with a touch of fear, the world outside no longer felt daunting. She realized that whatever lay ahead could define them all in ways they had never imagined. And as hope hung on the brink like an untouched promise, the weight of family history began to morph into something entirely new. The call of the future echoed ever closer, a distant melody waiting to form a new harmony. What Jake would ultimately choose to do with that revelation remained uncertain, but beneath it all, a truth was on the verge of crystallizing, ready to reshape everything they thought they understood. Lisa couldn't help but wonder, would this new path lead to the freedom Jake craved, or would it tether him even tighter to the past? Jake felt the air shift in the room as Henry's words settled in. The weight of them pressed down, heavy and familiar. His mind raced, grappling with a whirlwind of emotions. The promise of choice lingered in the space between them, but what did that really mean? His mother had always been larger than life, her dreams and ambitions casting long shadows over their family. What kind of legacy had she truly left behind? "Where is it?" Jake asked, his voice firmer now, threaded with resolve. "What do I have to do?" Henry hesitated, uncertainty creeping back into his expression. "It's not something that can be rushed. You need to be ready to truly understand." "Ready for what?" Jake shot back, frustration creeping into his tone. "What does that even mean?" Lisa placed a hand on his arm, grounding him. She could see how the tension in his jaw tightened further with each passing second. "Jake, maybe we should take a moment," she offered softly, her own heart racing. This was more than she had anticipated, but she sensed the urgency. "No," Jake said, shaking his head. "We need to know now." Henry sighed, rubbing the back of his neck, as if trying to summon the right words. "Okay, but we can't do this here," he finally said. "There's a safe place, somewhere your mother used to go. I can show you." At that moment, Jake's father stepped in, his voice a deep rumble that seemed to reverberate off the walls. "What do you think you're doing, Henry? You come in here with cryptic messages, and now you think you can just whisk my son away?" Henry's eyes flickered with conflict. "Mr. Thompson, I understand your protectiveness, but this is about Jake's future. His mother loved him dearly. She wouldn't want him to be burdened by secrets." Jake's heart pounded as emotions churned inside him. He yearned to know more about his mother, to piece together the last parts of a puzzle he didn't even fully understand. "Dad, I want to go. If there's something out there, something she left, I need to find it." His father's demeanor softened slightly, revealing a glimmer of the father he missed. "Jake, we don't have time for this," Jake interjected firmly. "I need to find out what she wanted. I know I can handle it." The room, filled with the echoes of their mounting tension, fell silent as they all stood, uncertain of the next step. It was a fragile moment, everything hanging in the balance. Just then, the weight of hesitation broke as Henry nodded slowly, as though choosing his next words carefully. "All right, let us go. But I want you to understand, this will change everything for you," he said with earnestness. Without waiting for a response, he turned on his heel, heading toward the door. The tension in the room crackled anew as Jake exchanged glances with Lisa, who mirrored his mixture of anxiety and determination. "Are you really going to do this?" she asked quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. Jake took a deep breath, feeling the pull of his mother's love guiding him. "I have to. I can't back down now," he replied, his resolve solidifying with each passing second. As they stepped outside into the evening air, uncertainty mingled with anticipation. The streetlights flickered above like stars trying to break through the suffocating clouds overhead. What truths awaited them in the shadows? What would Jake learn about his mother? With the world around him crackling with possibility, he felt the tug of his destiny beckoning him forward. But in his heart, A question remained. Would he truly be ready to face whatever lay ahead? The moon hung low, casting a silver glow on the path as Jake, Lisa, and Henry drove through the quiet streets. Tension shimmered in the car, thick enough to cut with a knife. Lisa sat close to Jake, feeling the warmth radiating from his arm. She wished she could shield him from the storm brewing ahead. Jake's thoughts swirled like autumn leaves in a gust: his mother's past, his father's expectations, and the choices that lingered in the air like a song waiting to be sung. "Are you okay?" Lisa finally asked, breaking the silence. Jake turned to her, his eyes blazing with fierce determination. "I will be once we get answers. I have to honor her no matter what." Henry nodded but remained focused on the road, his grip tight on the steering wheel. "Your mother left something special for you, something that could ease the burden of choice ahead." "What kind of something?" Jake inquired, his voice edged with anticipation. "She believed in your strength, Jake. She loved the man you were destined to be. Whatever it is, she wanted you to embrace your own path." The car pulled up to a quaint, unassuming cottage nestled among towering trees. The kind of place that whispered secrets and felt imbued with the essence of time. Lisa stepped out first, breath drawn in by the familiar scent of pine and earth. Jake followed, the urgency of the moment thrumming through him like a heartbeat. As they approached the doorway, Lisa felt a swell of hope. She could sense this was a moment that could weave their futures together, yet the uncertainty gnawed at her stomach. "Are you ready, Jake?" He took a deep breath, nodding slightly. "Just stay close to me." Stepping inside, they were greeted by the fading remnants of a life once cherished. The walls held photographs immortalizing laughter and love. Glimpses of a past that felt just out of reach emerged. Henry guided them to a small study at the back of the cottage, dusty but alive with memories. "Your mother wanted me to keep this safe for you." He handed Jake a small, worn box, its surface glimmering faintly in the dim light. Jake's fingertips brushed over it, a flutter of both sorrow and anticipation swirling within him. "What's inside?" Jake whispered, barely able to contain the cascade of emotions flooding through him. "Open it, son. Let her words guide you," Henry replied, his tone gentle but resolute. With a trembling hand, Jake lifted the lid, revealing a stack of letters tied with a faded ribbon. Each envelope bore his name, inked in a familiar script that felt like an embrace from his mother. He glanced to Lisa, seeking reassurance. Her encouraging nod pushed him forward. Slowly, he unwrapped the ribbon, letting it fall as he pulled out the first letter. With a deep breath, he began to read aloud, the words breathing life into hopes and dreams long buried. "Dear Jake, I've always admired your spirit. I want you to know that life is about the choices we make, not the ones others dictate for us. You have the heart of a fighter. Choose love. Choose your own path." Each word hung in the air like a shimmering promise, igniting Jake's resolve anew. He glanced at Lisa, who watched him with tears glistening in her eyes. "She believed in me," he murmured. But even as the words lifted his heart, another letter beckoned, a heavier weight waiting to be unveiled. With trepidation, he opened it, sensing a shift in the atmosphere. "Dear Jake, if you're reading this, it means I am no longer by your side. My love for you is inexhaustible, and it's important for you to know that family ties can be both a blessing and a burden." The weight of those words bore down as they explored the shades of truth. Each letter opened doors to understanding and the complexities of love, family, and the choices Jake longed to make. Lisa stepped closer, instinctively intertwining their fingers, grounding him in the storm of emotions, reminders that he was not alone. "I can start my life anew. I can define what family means to me now," Jake declared, each syllable gaining strength with every passing moment. "Exactly," Lisa affirmed, her eyes sparkling with admiration and love. "You're already carving a new legacy, our legacy. Together." The last letter spoke of hopes for reconciliation, urging him to both forgive and embrace not only the family he'd left behind, but also the one he had chosen to create. A smile broke through the clouds gathering in Jacob's heart, easing burdens he had carried for too long. As they left the cozy cottage, a fierce determination swelled within him. The air felt charged with possibility, hope mingling with certainty. The finality of choices confronted him, but now he had clarity. With Lisa at his side, he could shape his future, not just for him, but also for Sophie. "Let us show them that love conquers all," he affirmed, squeezing Lisa's hand. With every step forward, he felt lighter, ready to confront the past, embrace the present, and march boldly into their future together. In that moment, everything clicked into place. Jake turned to Lisa, a radiant smile breaking through, illuminating a path paved with hope and love. "Are you ready to face whatever comes next?" She grinned, exuding warmth. "With you. Always." As they walked hand in hand, shadows began to fade, replaced by the bright whisper of new beginnings. Love would guide them through. Love would be their legacy. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Make sure to leave a like to feed the algorithm, and comment below your thoughts about this ending. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this amazing transformation. Your support is what keeps the stories alive and thriving.